Railroad Preserver 2000 here, back again doing another recording here, this time at Sweetwater Creek State Park. Currently I'm going on their red hiking trail. Reason is because of the old mill that used to be here, the old textile mill. It was built in, I believe, 1849 and was burned by Sherman's forces in 1864. All that's really left of it now is the facade. Everything had been gutted out, scrapped out, etc. But I just wanted to give you guys a idea as to what I was doing and where I'm going. So yeah, I'm going to end the recording to save battery life, and I will turn it back on when we get to the mill. See y'all then. Well, now what do we have here? We have a creek. When they went to build this mill, this is the kind of thing they were looking for, because the mill was water powered. They had a water wheel. Even though I haven't shown it on video, there's a museum and interpretive center here at the park, with the main thing being about the mill, the town, and it's all really interesting. If you guys are ever in the area, I highly recommend checking it out because it's worth it. I know most of y'all aren't in Georgia, those of you who watch my videos, but for those of you who are and are closer to this than I am, I highly recommend looking at this, because those visiting these places help keep them going, help keep them preserved, and, you know, overall just helps them be kept. Look here. Yeah. Compare this with what I filmed at Providence Canyon, and you'll see this area is more like what's down at the creek behind my dad's place. It's practically, it's more or less identical with that, with a few exceptions. But yeah, I'll include links to information regarding this park and the mill once this video is up, but until then I will see you guys when I get there. Moving on from where I saw that creek, I'm now where it empties out. For every creek, there's a river it feeds. I believe the mills are down there. But yeah, if anybody was surveying spots for a mill, they would first follow a creek. If it led to a river, they were set. Yeah, the mill was mostly for textile use. The information regarding it in the interpretive center goes into more detail regarding the mill, its history, and how it was built, how it was run, etc., etc. But basically it was built in 1849, and on July 9th, 1864, Sherman's troops came, captured the mill and ordered it destroyed, in which they did so. So that's what you see now.
If you keep following this south, you'll hit it.
All right, thank you. Just talking to a gentleman about how to get to the mill, but I like this. It's pretty. What's funny is I've lived in Georgia all my life. I didn't even know about this place. Even though we've been in the area almost, I don't know how many times over the years, passing through on trips. Well, there must have been a bridge here. Must have got washed out. I wonder why. No, I'm just kidding. Now, that's probably a little spring right there, coming out of the hill, draining down. Those are common. Got some rock formations there. That's really pretty. actually really pretty, my word, wow. But yeah, I'm hearing a bunch of falling water, so I must be getting close. Another view of the river. Oh, wait a minute. If there's a waterfall here, I'm gonna be stunned. It sounds like what I may be hearing, unless it's unless it's the other thing I'm thinking, which is what's left of the dam, but I don't know. Oh no, it's just rapids. Okay. Still better than nothing. Yeah, but the paintings I've seen of the mill show it in an area where there's rapids, where it starts to fall. So that's good. That's a good start. Yeah, for the red trail it said it was an hour or two down, an hour back each direction, so about 2 hours. I've got water, I've eaten, so I'm set. Okay, so the company store was here. And there's also what's left of a mill race too. Yeah, right here in front of us, okay. First shoal and dam. So the dam is pretty much right here. Yeah, so that's exactly what this is here. Look here. So that's part of the dam, or what may have been left of it, and then here's what led to the mill right here. Yeah. So this is the mill diversion channel. That's where they would feed water to the mill, more or less. Yeah, that's what this is here. This is what's left of that. And here's how you can tell. Look here. Stacked stone. That's man-made. That's not natural. This would have been originally lined with river stone. There would have been a river stone wall to keep it all from washing out and eroding in, etc., etc., etc. So we're now headed in the right direction. We are headed in exactly the right direction. Yeah. Yeah, New Manchester Mill, it opened on December 21st, 1849. So mill race. So yeah, that's what we're seeing here, what I just showed you. That goes from where we're standing to the mill, which is here. So we're headed the right direction. The store was right around here. It was burned along with the mill in 1864. Yeah, so this must have been where it was, right here, this flat spot of land, I bet. I don't know, I'm only able to guess. Okay, so we have an overlook or a bridge here, so let's see, there might be more preserved of the old mill and mill race. I call it the mill channel. Of course, as you can see over time, the rock work has eroded out, but as you can clearly see here, some remains. And there's a little spring right here, another spring coming down the hill. Actually out of the hill right there. That's literally where the spring comes out, but I'm going to take a little detour. Another interesting thing similar to this is that's up in Augusta is the old Augusta Canal. It was the main water source for a bunch of mills in Augusta. I've wanted to see it for a good number of years, but haven't had a chance to really look at it. So here's the mill race down here. This is how they would, this is where they get water from the river here, or from there to the mill. They would dam it up, dig a diversion channel, which is what this is, have the water flow alongside down to the mill. And as you guys just saw, well, right there, there's what's left of the stone wall. That's all stacked river rock. And that's all hand stacked too. There's nothing, I don't think there was any machining done, but you can see over time, over the last 150 years, all that's been collapsing and being washed away every time there's a flood. So, yeah, we shall continue on. And they have little plaques concerning each different plant species, animal species, which is interesting. Though a lot of them need to be touched up. A lot of them are not doing very good. Now here's a good example of what I mean. You can see how much the creek bank, the channel's bank has eroded. But then you can look right in there and see more of the old stonework. So a lot of the old stonework is still here. It's just slowly eroding and collapsing into the channel. Every time there's been heavy rain and flash flooding and whatnot that's overtopped the banks, it will just gradually come in, overflow into here, wash all the stonework out, and well, there you go. It's interesting though how some sections of it have survived, but others have collapsed. I think maybe I'm only giving it my own personal estimate, but judging by the fact there's still bits and pieces of the old stonework here, I'd say maybe less than 2% of the stone masonry for this is still intact. Maybe even less than what I'm thinking, but I don't know. Again, I'm only guessing. But here's another bit where the stonework is still intact, right here where this tree is. But we must be getting close because I'm hearing a bunch of falling water. Yeah, right here you can see. Yeah, look right here, exactly. Here's more of the stonework right here. Again, all river stone, all hand stacked right here. This is something I saw in New England just with property walls. The people who live in New England would build essentially rock walls on their properties to denote the boundaries. And I think that's still done in some capacity today, which is interesting. In fact, there's a house in Lexington that was built by someone from there about 150 years ago, and they built a stone wall around their property lines, which is interesting, you know. So right in here, a lot of the old stonework still exists. As for how long though, I don't know. I can't say that, but the fact it's still here is amazing enough. And right in here is actually, right in here you can see a lot of it here, which is interesting. But you can now see where tree growth and whatnot has started washing it out, leaving what you're seeing now. Now you can see it's starting to fall, and I'm thinking now it's going to be emptying out into the river. Yeah. So right here, the mill race has broken through, or has been steadily washed away until, well, this here is what you get. Falls down into the river. But I'll see y'all later when we get to the mill. Carrying on. We must be getting close now. Also, interesting thing, that's all rock right there. All of this. It's all bits of limestone and river rock and whatnot. Of course, we are just past Atlanta, so we're in the mountains. Start of the mountains. But now, Yeah, look here. Okay, so here's where the old, yeah, here. I think we can go down into here. Let me see. This is what's left of the mill race that's been, oh well, we're here. We're at the mill. Okay. Okay, so we're now at the mill. Here it is. Here it is. So this is what's left of the old New Manchester Mill. Originally a 5-story structure. It, as I said, was destroyed when Sherman showed up. The mill race would have fed water from the river down to the water wheel, which would have been there, and then it would have had machinery and belts going from it into the mill. But this here is all that's left. Something interesting that I wish I could have known about was that I wish we could have gone on their website, because they actually have a tour tomorrow between 10, 1, and 3 where you can go in here. I wish I had known that, but I wouldn't have known regardless, so you know, what's the point? We came down today. I don't think we're not exactly planning to do this again tomorrow. But here's a better view of this sucker. So as you can see, when it got destroyed by the Union Army, well, if you notice, about 1 or 2 stories of the mill collapsed. Yeah, let's see, there's the bottommost floor, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So the 5th one is completely gone, but right here is where the water wheel would have been. It was a wood wheel, there would have been iron gearing and whatnot. But yeah, I'm going to go down to show you what's left of the mill race leading right up to the mill here. So yeah. And here's what it would have looked like right here. This here is what this mill would have originally looked like. Yeah, the land was purchased in 1845. Construction began a year later, and the mill was opened 3 years after that in 1849. Manufacturing company was incorporated in 1857. Yeah. Yeah. But here's how they destroyed it. They Major Thompson returned from destroying the woolen mill at Roswell and ordered his men to burn the factory. They poured flammable liquids on all 5 floors and set the building on fire. So that's how they destroyed this. They probably poured like alcohol and other stuff on the upper floors. Probably led some sort of a trail leading up, I guess, stairways and whatnot. Just set it on fire, and that was all it was. But here's the layout, or what the layout would have been. Small basement. Would have used whale oil for machinery lubrication back then. But they switched to lard oil after the war began. Picker room, that's where cotton was picked clean as seeds, with machinery. Card room. Spinning room. I've seen these old spinning wheels. And then the garret room, 4th floor. Weaving room, 5th floor. And here's some early diagrams of what it would have all looked like. And yes, this being the South, they would have used slaves, unfortunately. Which is something I'm not too happy about, being from somebody who's been born and raised here, but you know, you can't do much. What all can you do? Now, interesting thing, that was all head height back then. That just shows you how much soil and debris has accumulated here in over 200 years, nearly 200 years since the war. Because that was originally a full floor-to-ceiling doorway, and now look at it. You'd think it was a window. And then there's the edge of the mill race right there, and then what's left of it's there. I'm going to go over there and look at that in a minute. Yeah, moderate to, of course. That's obvious. So yeah, no kidding is it difficult. You're walking down steps and pathways and just about every other thing you can think of. But here's another view of the mill. So see, here's more or less like panoramic stuff. Now I'm going to be careful walking down this because this wood is slippery, and while my shoes are new, I do not want to risk them slipping and breaking my neck out here because, yeah, that won't be fun. I can't get any pictures of the mill due to being in this wooded area. There's simply not enough light. Oh my gosh, this leads down to the river. Okay. But they've got a fence to keep people out. And for good reason. That sucker may have been here for 100-something years, but it's not stable. If it wasn't historic, it would have been demolished. But what's interesting is that's one of the few remnants from the Civil War which was more or less left untouched. Because see, the thing is, all the machinery like the looms and whatnot they just showed in that info board were all wooden. They weren't made of iron until I think just shortly after the war. Now I know you're asking me, why is all this here? Simple, the river floods. Water gets up high enough and well, there you go. Yeah. So here we are down at the river level. I can see where people have been littering, which is stupid as hell. But anyway, you can't do much to prevent that. Because people don't care, which they did. Anyways. So here we are at the river. So yeah, I will climb back up and I'll see y'all in a minute. So, what I was saying, I'm going down now to the mill race where they have the this little walkway here built into it. Now, the only reason this part of it is still intact is because they, I think, either let it get washed out on its own or they cut a bit out of it so that it wouldn't like deteriorate. But you can see the river's already done a decent job of that. That part's collapsed right there. But here's what's left of the old mill channel right here. You know, you can see there's trails and all here, but here's what's left of the old stone wall. That's all hand-stacked river stone right there. Stuff they would have gotten from out there in the river. And actually right here, you can see just how thick these walls were. That was to prevent them from washing out. You can see more of the mill here. And this actually shows you how wide this thing was right here. The old mill race. And here's what's left of that mill race here. And you can see how tall it is from where I'm standing looking down, right there. And right in here was where the water wheel was. And the reason it has all those windows is so it would have had natural light, because they didn't have electricity back in 1864. They had either gas lamps or just normal kerosene lamps and whatnot. Electricity wouldn't show up until a few decades later. So, that, I think, will conclude this. So, till the next time, this is Railroad Preserver coming from Sweetwater Creek State Park in Lithia Springs, Georgia. Signing out.